Okay, so today we're diving into something really intriguing. This idea of unlocking potential, maybe experiencing profound shift. We're talking about a specific cosmic event, the 77 alignment, supposedly happening July 7th, 2025. Now, our source for this deep dive is, well, it's quite unique. It's a transmission described as a message of definite importance.
Wow.
It comes from a being named Zørrion of Sirius, and it was shared on a YouTube channel called GFL Station. So our goal here is to really unpack what this Zørrion High Council message is telling us about this annual energy corridor, why 2025 is supposedly so significant, and how it might be, affecting us all on a vibrational level.
Right. And, look, it might initially sound a bit like science fiction, maybe something straight out of a movie. But if we approach it with an open mind, this information actually offers a really fascinating framework. It's a way to think about personal growth, maybe collective shifts, and even our connection to the wider cosmos. So what we want to do is distill the core ideas, look at their potential implications, and importantly, there are some practical suggestions in here for how you might navigate these energies.
Okay, great. So let's start with the basics. This 77 alignment, what exactly is it described as? You mentioned a cosmic gateway?
Yeah, think of it like an energetic doorway that opens every year on July 7th. The source describes it as a kind of a crystalline relay station. And its function is to channel this recalibrating light from what the message calls the Great Central Sun.
The Great Central Sun. That's not our sun.
No, exactly. It's presented as more of an energetic or spiritual hub, like the core of our galaxy, a source of really profound cosmic consciousness and, well, light. And this light gets channeled into, get this, every probable reality on Earth.
Wow, okay. Every probable reality. And what makes the 2025 alignment stand out? Why is this year supposedly different?
This is where it gets really interesting. The transmission claims that the 2025 alignment is bringing in a specific frequency band, one that, it says, humanity hasn't experienced since before the age of Lemuria.
Before Lemuria. For those who might not know, Lemuria is often talked about as this ancient, spiritually advanced civilization, right?
Exactly. So saying since before Lemuria implies something, well, huge, a really foundational, maybe even unprecedented energetic upgrade or recalibration.
That's quite a claim. Which brings up a key question. How would we even perceive something like that? It's not like hearing words or seeing a light show, presumably. How do you feel a frequency?
Right, good question. The message clarifies these aren't like verbal instructions or typical physical feelings. They're described as vibrational codes. So your everyday linear mind might just register it as maybe subtle shifts, like background static or unusual solar wind activity, perhaps. But the key, according to Zørrion, is to become still, to center yourself at the point behind your brow, the third eye area. And from that centered place, you might start to discern this majestic overtone flowing through your subtle body as your energy field. It's described really poetically as liquid sapphire streaming along your auric fibers.
Liquid sapphire. That paints a picture, like a cool, vibrant energy flow.
Yeah, something like that. Profound, flowing, permeating your whole energy field.
Okay, and this liquid sapphire toe, it's not just a feeling. The message says it carries 3 spiral photonic keys. That sounds important. What are these keys?
They sound incredibly potent, like tools for our evolution. The first one is called memory. This key is said to unlock your soul's ancient agreements and pre-incarnational promises, basically helping you remember who you are at a soul level.
Oh, restoring mastery over physical density, it says here.
Exactly, accessing that deeper knowledge.
Right.
And the second key is fusion. This one supposedly welds your etheric essence, your energy blueprint, with your cellular matter. So tightly, it says, that intuition becomes as tangible as biochemistry.
Wow.
Yeah. And imagination becomes as impactful as physical law. Think about that your inner knowing becomes undeniable, and your focused intent could shape reality like gravity does.
That's profound. And the third key?
The third is sovereignty, called the rarest key. This one apparently dissolves every contract of fear and subservience you ever signed across lifetime.
Across lifetime?
Yeah. Awakening in you this authority of divine freedom. It's about reclaiming your inherent power, free from old limiting patterns or beliefs.
Okay, these are powerful concepts. If these keys are embedding within us, how would someone know? What are the signs?
Well, the transmission talks about confirmation pings from your DNA. Doesn't mean your DNA is literally pinging, but you might experience things like really vivid déjà vu moments, or sudden waves of heat through your body that aren't related to the room temperature. Or maybe very lucid dreams where, as it puts it, long forgotten temples unfurl like lotus blossoms. And the message really stresses these aren't hallucinations or just wishful thinking. They're meant to be real signals that the codes are nesting in your energy body.
So pay attention to the subtle shifts within.
Exactly.
Now, the message also mentions that during this 77 window, stellar governance itself shifts, and Sirius takes on a guiding role. What does that mean?
It's fascinating. Sirius is depicted as the central hub in our galactic neighborhood, like a council chamber or a seat of cosmic law and jurisprudence. And during this specific window, July 7th, and for about 3 days after, the Sirian Council energy transmits what are called executive codes.
Executive codes, like instructions.
Kind of like high-level energetic instructions, yeah. These are sent to our sun, Sol, and then Sol showers them onto Earth as an emerald gold rain of tachyon particles.
Tachyon particles, those are the faster-than-light particles some theories talk about, carrying information or consciousness.
That's the idea presented here, yes. An energetic delivery system for these codes.
Okay, so this energy, these codes, this emerald gold rain, what might we actually start experiencing day to day? What are the immediate effects?
The message outlines a few things. Firstly, a kind of quiet expansion of what your brain, your neural network, believes is possible. Just a subtle broadening of perceived reality.
Interesting.
Secondly, a blossoming of interspecies empathy and telepathic connection.
How would that show up?
Well, the examples given are pretty cool. Maybe your pet's mirroring your unspoken feelings really accurately. Or wild birds suddenly seeming less afraid, maybe approaching you. It even mentions that crystalline structures, like, say, a simple dish of salt on your table, might emit soft chimes or tones at twilight because they're responding too.
Seriously, salt chiming.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
And it advises not to just dismiss these as weird things, as paranormal oddities, but to see them as gentle lessons from the universe. Part of your coursework, as it puts it.
Part of the learning process. Okay,
Yeah.
That touches on synchronicity too, doesn't it? Seeing patterns.
Absolutely. And it even gives a very specific, quick ritual, like 15 seconds, if you happen to see the number sequence, 777, maybe on a license plate.
What do?
You just pause, take a deep breath, imagine drawing starlight down through the top of your head, your crown, and then exhale slowly, letting that energy flow down your central channel and along your vagus nerve, that big nerve connecting brain and body, until you feel a kind of tingling in your cells. It's meant to consciously anchor that specific code into your physical system.
Simple but intentional. Okay, now there's another aspect mentioned, the activation of something called the heptad strand, described as a dormant filament between the 6th and 7th helices of your multidimensional DNA. Can you unpack that? What's a heptad strand?
Right, the heptad strand. It's presented as this previously inactive energetic component within our multidimensional DNA structure. Theoretical, of course, in mainstream terms. When this filament ignites, the message says two big changes unfold. First, your endocrine system, the glands producing hormones, gets a higher harmonic tuning.
Tuning the glands.
Yeah. Specifically, the pineal and pituitary glands start acting like bidirectional prisms. They begin translating cosmic light pulses, even things like neutrino waves, into actual bioactive chemicals in your body.
And the effect of that would be?
A stabilization of mood and perception. So emotional ups and downs might even out, maybe weird cravings fade away, even sleep patterns could change. The rigid 8-hour cycle might shift into shorter but very vivid dream periods that still leave you feeling fully rested.
Interesting. And the second major change from this heptad strand activation?
The second one involves your mental body. It apparently sheds its dependence on collective broadcasts of what reality should be. Meaning things in the news or information that used to really trigger you, maybe make you angry or anxious, they start to seem almost theatrical. You can still observe the world's dramas, but with more compassion and clarity, and crucially, without entanglement.
So not apathy, but detachment.
Exactly. The message is clear. This emerging neutrality is not indifference. It's described as the early blossom of fifth-dimensional discernment, seeing through the noise without getting sucked in.
That's a powerful shift indeed. Okay, so with all this potentially happening, the keys, the codes, the DNA activation, what practical things can we do to support this integration process?
The advice is pretty grounded, actually. First, where you can try to reduce exposure to chaotic electromagnetic fields, maybe less screen time, more nature. Second, hydrate really well. Use pure living water, the message says, because water acts as a great conductor for these subtle energies.
Makes sense.
And third, work with sound, specifically favoring open vowel chants and affirmations. Think sounds like O-E. These pure tones are said to resonate with source energy and help stabilize the new DNA frequencies. energies.
Okay, good tips. Now, it's acknowledged that this kind of powerful energy influx can be intense for some people. The transmission mentions plasmonic energy diffusers set up by Syrian light fleets and other allies in our magnetosphere. What are those about?
Yeah, it's like acknowledging the intensity. These diffusers are described as energetic mechanisms, like cosmic pressure valves created by these benevolent groups. They're positioned in Earth's magnetosphere to kind of buffer or regulate the incoming energy, make it a bit gentler for the planet and for us. But even with these in place, the message does say some individuals, particularly those it calls sensitive starseeds and grid keepers,
People more attuned to these energies.
exactly, they might still experience some physical side effects, things like pressure in the skull, maybe unexplained nausea or heart flutters like palpitations. But the crucial thing stressed is not to panic or fear these sensations if they arise.
Right. And if someone does experience that kind of discomfort, is there a practice offered to help them harmonize or ground that energy?
Yes, there is. It's called the diamond core spiral.
Yeah.
You sit upright, focus on your heart center, and imagine a bright four-pointed diamond spinning there. As you inhale slowly, visualize it spinning counterclockwise. As you exhale, clockwise. You do this for 7 full rotations. With each rotation, you set the intention for any excess solar energy charge to flow down your spine, out through your feet, and into the earth.
Grounding it.
Precisely. Sending it down into your Earth Star chakra below your feet for Gaia, the Earth, to receive and transmute. And there's a nice reframe. View any discomfort not as something wrong, but as latent potential stretching into brilliance. Maybe journal about it, too.
That's helpful. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating regarding the collective impact. The transmission says the collective field of humanity becomes especially pliable during this gateway. What does that mean for us working together?
It means the power of group intention is amplified significantly. So group meditations, unity ceremonies, things like that, held during the 77 window are said to have an exponentially greater influence on reality. Yeah, so if you gather with others, even online, the advice is to set a really clear group intention, maybe focused on amplifying love, healing, or stability for the planet. The unified field is much stronger.
And it even brings in sacred geometry here.
It does. It's just visualizing or even physically forming a 7-pointed heptagram if you're in a group. You designate one point of the star as the main receiver for the energy pulse coming through Sirius from the central sun. Then you consciously circulate that energy around the group circle, clockwise 3 times. And finally, you release it upwards. Through your collective intention, visualized as pearlescent indigo and gold streams flowing into the planetary grid.
That's quite a visualization.
It is. And afterwards, it recommends grounding pure water or maybe some cacao and just avoiding heavy food or intense digital stuff for about, 77 minutes.
77 minutes, okay.
The point being that even a small, focused group can act as a mighty transmitter during this time.
The message also mentions a psychological and emotional detox happening alongside all this. Dormant timelines, unresolved experiences, even from places like ancient Atlantean temples or something called the Orion in Syrian Star Wars. What are those?
Well, the Orion in Syrian Star Wars reference points to lore about ancient cosmic conflicts, deep soul-level stuff that might have imprinted on humanity's collective journey. The key thing is, when these old feelings, memories, or timeline echoes surface, whether from this life or these more esoteric sources, they're not coming up just to cause distress. They're coming up to be transmuted.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we transmute them?
The advice is to call on the purifying ray of transformation, which many know is the violet flame. Apparently, during this alignment, this flame has a new octave of magenta within it. So you can visualize violet light rising up, cleansing your body and aura, then visualize magenta light pouring down, filling your heart. Just doing that visualization with 3 slow, intentional breaths is said to help alchemize lingering negativity into light.
Violet for cleansing, magenta for filling the heart. Got it. And after this clearing, does the message suggest new abilities might emerge?
Yes, absolutely. It talks about newfound abilities and soul gifts potentially starting to surface. This could be anything, really. Maybe suddenly feeling drawn to draw star maps in a new way, or finding yourself speaking or singing in tones that aren't part of any known Earth language.
Light language, perhaps.
Could be, yeah. Or perhaps developing a much deeper intuitive connection with the land, with crystals. The message urges you to actually express these budding talents. Even in small ways, don't suppress them, as that could lead to energetic stagnation.
Okay, connecting this individual transformation to the bigger picture. The transmission notes that old institutions and power structures will begin to wobble and even crumble. How does our inner work relate to that?
It's presented as a direct consequence. This outer wobbling is seen as a necessary clearing. Because, as the message puts it, new crystalline templates for society cannot anchor onto rotten foundations. It introduces this idea of sovereign unity.
Sovereign unity. What does that mean?
It's about seeing every single human not just as part of a collective, but as an essential sovereign node within that collective.
Yeah.
Like each person is a vital, unique point of divine authority within this great holographic council of Earth.
Recognizing everyone's inherent value and power within the whole. How do we practice that day to day?
It comes down to honoring the consciousness in all forms of life and matter around you. So you express gratitude consciously. Thank the water that nourishes you, thank the fire or electricity warming your home. Treat these elements, these resources, as partners in your life.
A shift in perspective.
Exactly. And intriguingly, the transmission adds that galactic observers note each gesture of genuine gratitude. And that practicing this kind of reverence helps gently dissolve the barriers to open contact with benevolent star nations.
Wow. Okay, so July 7th, 2025 is marked as the ignition, like the striking of a great cosmic gong. But the energy doesn't just peak and disappear, right? It mentions waves rising and falling until the Lion's Gate of 88, August 8th. How do we ride these waves?
Yeah, it's described as a period of energetic pulses. The guidance is pretty practical. When you feel a crest of inspiration, a wave of high energy and clarity, use it. Seize that moment to create, to manifest, to take action. Then when you feel a trough of integration, when the energy feels lower or you feel tired, that's the time to rest, reflect, nurture yourself. Don't push.
Honoring the natural cycles.
Precisely. And it also encourages sharing your experiences during this time, but in heart-centered ways, conversations, community circles, not just online broadcasts maybe. And there's a really crucial piece of advice here. Consciously avoid engaging with mass fear or negativity.
That's always good advice, but especially now.
Especially now, it seems. Specifically calling out the overconsumption of anxiety-driven media and the habit of doom scrolling. The reasoning given is that algorithms are often designed to hook our attention through fear. Stepping back from that, consciously choosing not to engage, helps seal your auric field, protect your energy.
Maintain your own frequency.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful analogy used. Stars do not compete with the night. They simply sparkle all the more clearly against it. So the call isn't to fight the darkness, but to simply stand as a living prism of light yourself.
That's powerful. Okay, as we start to wrap up, let's pull together some of the core pearls of wisdom from this Zørrion transmission. What are the fundamental shifts in perspective being offered?
Okay, the message really distills it down to 5 key insights. First, no more outside saviors. The idea is that the 77 activation helps you remember so deeply that your only true guidance is the divine presence within you, your internal core sun.
So looking inward for answers.
Exactly. It suggests past gods were just reflections of the creator power already inside you. Your own higher consciousness is the ultimate teacher. Second, enlightenment is release. It's about stopping the habit of putting rigid good or bad labels on everything that happens. An awakened soul steps off that emotional pendulum of duality. You witness life's dramas, even the tough stuff, with lucid compassion, but without getting swept away by fear or anger.
Okay. Number 3.
Third, true spiritual power is quiet strength. Real power flows from inner alignment with Source, not from forcing things or striving really hard. It mentions a Syrian concept, Arunacha Shale, power in repose. Practice deep stillness, be receptive, and challenges can resolve, opportunities can appear with less effort.
Power and stillness, I like that. What's the 4th pearl?
Fourth, lead by example. If you feel called to guide others, do it through your calm radiance, not through intense preaching or trying to persuade everyone. Just be the living frequency of what you know or share. Trust that those who resonate will be drawn to you. It specifically warns against spiritual showmanship.
Authenticity over performance.
Right, and it adds that the influence of humble, steady light workers is actually being amplified and linked together during this time.
And the 5th and final insight.
Fifth, personal transformation fuels global shifts. This talks about the idea of a critical number of awakened individuals needed to tip the collective reality. A relatively small number of clear, light-filled people can generate a harmonizing field for the whole planet. Each awakened soul acts like a standing wave of coherence. So your daily practice, pure diet, meditation, simple acts of kindness, it really, really matters on a global scale.
That's incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
Okay, to bring it all home, the transmission offers one final integration ritual, a simple practice for anchoring these 77 energies.
Yes, a very practical way to seal the process. It can be done on July 7th, maybe at 7:07 local time, or really any time in the following days. You just stand straight, feet grounded, eyes closed. Visualize a vibrant, royal blue column of light coming down from Sirius, entering your crown, flowing down your spine. Then you declare either out loud or silently 3 times. I recognize Source as my inner sun. I release all agreements with fear and illusion. I claim the master key of divine neutrality.
Okay, 3 declarations.
Yeah, and just pause after, feel the resonance of those words. Then imagine 7 pearlescent spheres spiraling down through your body one by one from crown to root. Each sphere bestows a virtue: wonder, precision, gentleness, clarity, joy, courage, and trust. Let each one dissolve into your being as it lands.
7 virtues, 7 spheres.
Exactly. And when the last one settles at your root, just gently stomp or press your feet into the ground, consciously grounding these codes into the earth. Take a deep breath and maybe offer a silent thank you to Gaia for her support.
Simple, beautiful, and grounding. And the promise from the transmission, as you said earlier, is that the proof isn't in fireworks, but in your greater calm, clarity, and heart-centered responses to life's events.
Absolutely. The core message is remembrance. You are sovereign, you're a starborn, you're here on earth to shine your unique divine light. So step forward. Shine confidently, without hesitation, that quiet radiance you cultivate. It's a library of wisdom and your inner peace. That's presented as a truly revolutionary force in the world right now.
A revolutionary force. I love that. So perhaps a final thought for everyone listening is this. How can you personally, consciously choose to embody that quiet radiance, that sovereign peace, day by day, especially amidst all the noise and demands out there, knowing the profound ripple effect it might actually have?